Welcome to Rossiters Ringside Report. I'm Mark Chang. I fought amateurs, had some pro fights, and now I sell boxing equipment. I'm joined here with Leo Rossiter, who is the head coach and the operator of the Annandale Boys and Girls Club boxing program, and he can tell you a little bit more about it.
The purpose of this broadcast is there's a void left in boxing news in the Mid-Atlantic area. We're located inside the Washington, D.C. Beltway, and with the lack of printed material, Ringside Magazine, others that have dissolved, and the Boxing Along the Beltway, which was operated for several years by Gary Digital Williams, who hasn't been keeping up the webpage for the last couple of years. We figured that we'd try to step in and see if we could give the public some good boxing news. We want to do some stuff with the local amateur fighters, not just the champions, but the kids that come in the gym and work hard, and they deserve a pat on the back for not being out there running with gangs, that they're in the gym working hard, and even if they don't become world champions, they become better people, better disciplined, and hopefully that'll help their grades and everything else. Our initial broadcast is going to be short. We don't want to bore anybody. We hope people will comment, tell us what you want, what we can supply to you, and we'll answer as many of those as possible. We can't answer everyone. We may not answer it like, John Jones told us that he wanted tickets to the main event, but we can certainly address the contents of most of the comments.
I'd like to maybe tell the audience, if you would, some of the fighters that have come through here, because there's a lot of good fighters that have trained here over the years.
Yeah, we've had the sensational Shaw brothers, Ali and Zane Shaw. Mm-hmm. Zane went on to the National Golden Gloves. He won the Virginian, he won the Mid-Atlantic Regionals, and went out to Denver for the Nationals, where he actually lost to a fighter from, what was that guy's name? Fought Ray Robinson, beat Ray Robinson. Yeah. Well, this also becomes a nostalgic program as well.
We're going way back on that one.
But he lost there, and then he turned pro. He had five professional fights with us, which were all victories, and he left, and he had a couple losses, and so his record was something like 6-3, 6-4, something like that. It was respectable.
Very respectable.
His brother Ali had one pro fight, and he fought here at our gym, and he won that by knockout in the third round. But he was in a car accident after that. At that time, his family had a driving school, and he was in an accident from one of the student drivers there, and then he had a neck injury, and that ended his pro boxing career. Then we had Todd White Leighton and Wilson came through here.
I remember Todd.
He fought at VMI in the collegians. He was a collegiate champion, I believe, and then he came with us, and he was had 16 pro fights, 16 victories, and then he hurt his hand. He hurt his hand, he hurt his leg, he hurt his hand again, and he was just compiling just compiling a lot of injuries. And one was in a fight, he separated the knuckles on his right hand, and then after that he was training for another fight at the what used to be called the Patriot Center, and he was running. It was October, and the leaves covered the ground, and he ran, hit a log, and the log twisted and tore the ligaments in his leg. He got that, had to have an operation on that. Once that was fixed, Then he was moving from Falls Church out to Chantilly, and he's putting boxes up in the attic, and the box came down and fell on his hand, broke his hand, had to have a pin in there.
The same one.
Yeah, same one. They had to have a pin put in the hand, and make a short story longer, when they took the pin out, it got infected. Then he had to go through and have another regimen of antibiotics and stuff. And by this time, you know, age was catching up on him. And I told him, I said, look, you had a good career. You know, you got a lot of stuff to tell your grandchildren about you. You know, you don't need to do this anymore, and you're all banged up. So he reluctantly retired because of injuries. Joe Jones came through here. Joe Jones was a cruiserweight kid with a lot of potential, but just didn't have the drive to train properly. You know, he could. He had good management behind him. Was that Triple T Management? I think it was called. And they were putting money behind him, getting him the right fights and all, but he just wouldn't train. And then now I think he's just a journeyman now. After our contract was over, he left, and so we've had and quite a few local amateur champions. That's been the crux of our more popular guys. We had a lot of the local novice Virginia champions and stuff. We've done okay. I mean, we're probably the best kept secret in the Northern Virginia area.
I would agree with that. Now, does anybody now have fights coming up? Do you want to talk about that at all?
Actually, we do. We got, next Saturday, February 1st, Baltimore Boxing. Jake Smith, one of the primary promoters around. Yep. He does a lot of amateur shows. He's done pro shows, but he hasn't done any in quite a few years. He's basically doing amateur shows, and he's having a show on next Saturday up there in Westminster, Maryland, and we have 3 guys on there. We have Caleb Gonda. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's fighting John Donahue. And John, he's from, we couldn't make out the writing on the on the itinerary they sent us. It's some MMA place Mr. Donahue's from. And then Brian Yee is fighting this guy. And it's not my fault if I butcher the name. They should all change the name to Smith and Jones when they come
That
here.
would be simpler.
Yurisoki, I don't know. I'm going to give you
Yarborough, Aldiva.
Yeah, Aldiva, it looks like. And Mr. Aldiva, apologize for butchering your name. But I have trouble with anything that gets past Smith and Jones. And he's from Robert Crawford's gym.
Oh,
and Robert Crawford.
Yeah.
This should be a good fight because Robert Crawford's been a trainer for quite some time. He's a decent trainer. He's had Tony Jeter. He had him in the amateurs and quite a few of his pro fights. So Robert's a good trainer. So I'm looking forward to matching wits with him. And then we have Edison Rios. He's going against Giovanni Costantine. I believe that's a Bison there, an Italian gentleman. This is a rematch. This is going to be interesting. It was a very close fight last time. And a lot of people thought that Brian had won that fight. And I think even our good friend Giovanni thought that, because when they announced him as a winner, he looks and said, "I won." So anyhow, it was a good close fight, and I expect the same thing this time. Mm-hmm. And we'll see how that goes. That was a crowd pleaser, though.
Yeah. Well, Edison, I know he's got a very exciting style. And Brian and Caleb, they're the guys, whenever I've come by here, I assist here. And I've really watched them grow in their game. They've really been developing a lot over the past year. So it'll be exciting to see them fight.
Yeah. I think this will be Caleb's third fight. Both of them, I think it's the third fight for both of them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Now that is actually the same night as the big Benavidez Morrel fight, and it's in the earlier part of the evening. So the amateur fights in Westminster should have wrapped up by the time the pay-per-view telecast starts for Benavidez Morrel. Who do you like in that fight, by the way?
Well, first of all, the show that we're at, the amateur show, starts at 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So it should be over by 8 at the latest, and everybody can run home and watch the Benavidez fight. I got to go with Benavidez. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got height and reach, and you know, and he's got a good punch, and I favor him in this. Mm-hmm. How about you?
So I was actually comparing both of their physicalities. There's not that much disparity. And remember, they're both super middleweights moving up to light heavyweight. And I've really only seen Morrel in one fight where I've really watched it. And that was his first and only fight at light heavyweight, where he fought the Hot Rod, the guy from Serbia. And I wasn't wowed. I mean, he's definitely got offense when he wants to turn it on, but he's not a pressure fighter. He's got defense when he wants to, but sometimes he'll stand there and let you hit the guard. So he's really no Pernell Whitaker in that regard. Benavidez has about 3 times as much ring experience in the professional ranks as Morrel. So that's really the big thing that I think favors Benavidez. Really hard to predict this one. Because Benavidez, if you look at his one and only fight at light heavyweight, he didn't look as spectacular as a super middleweight. And the part of the reason is because as a super middleweight, he has a size advantage. He's one of those guys like Gaddy who has mastered the art of the weigh-in. And he comes in really heavy. And so part of his game plan is to outsize you, but now he doesn't really have that because he's got another guy who matches him physically. So I think this will be very interesting to watch.
We'll see Sunday morning.
See you Sunday morning.
All right, I think we're going to wrap this up. This is our first endeavor at this, and we don't want to sit here and bore everybody. We're just doing a quick little synopsis here of the boxing and boxing news. And for anybody else that's interested in boxing and you having trouble finding a gym, keep us in mind, Annandale Boys and Girls Club Boxing. We cover everything boxing from competition to fitness. After our competitors finish around 8:15 in the evening, we have Jabs Boxing, which is a fitness class, but it's fitness with a twist. It's not your usual fitness thing where you work up a sweat where the trophy wives come in and that the 300-pound CEO sends his little slim trophy wife to keep in shape with. They actually teach you a little bit of self-defense in there, so it's it's well worth the energy there because a lot of people don't like being in with the competitors, so that's a little intimidating being in there with pros and stuff, and then they get in there with the jabs and then there with the regular people like themselves and can get in shape and actually learn a little self-defense at the same time. Yeah.
I've taken a look at a couple of those sessions, and you're actually boxing when you're doing the jabs class. You're not. It's not just pure instruction. You're engaged. You're actually doing boxing, and there's trainers here who have experience, and they're correcting you if you do something wrong because you don't want to keep working on the same thing that's incorrect. So I like that aspect of the program.
Well, the instructors came in through our program. They came
There
up
you
through our
go.
program, and they wanted to do a fitness thing, and I said, sure, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anything boxing, we're here.